Hi, in this video, we're going to take a look at customer insights journeys. Now, I want to be really specific. We're taking a look at the real-time journey area. I'm not going into event planning as part of this. I think that deserves its own separate video. And we're also not going into customer insights data. That's a customer data platform where you can manage unification of information, deduplication, and bring in contacts and customer details from external sources. Really powerful. All included as part of the customer insights license for your organization. Um, and worth understanding what you can get out of the platform. But the number one reason I see people adopting customer insights at the moment is because of its ability to do marketing. Microsoft previously had a product called Dynamics Marketing that was a product that had a number of these features and was completely separate from customer insights. When they brought the real-time journeys in, they actually merged customer insights journeys and customer insights data, and it made an incredibly powerful platform. So what I want to do today is run through those capabilities that it's got in real time and hopefully show you how this is a really powerful tool and it could do some interesting stuff for you. So the first thing we want to do is look at the journeys themselves. So as you'll see embedded throughout the whole platform, Microsoft deliver the capability to use Copilot. In this case, you can use your natural language description to write up the kind of customer journey you want to create, and it will go and look at the assets you have, the tools it can create with, and essentially a design methodology for putting a journey in place. You can also, once you've built ones that you want to reuse, save them as templates. So just go click on one of these ones here. You'll see there's this icon here, which means it's marketing to a segment, and this is marketing to a trigger. I'll drill into those a little bit later. But let's click on this one. So it'll go to a marketing segment. It will ask us to pick that segment it's going to market to as part of the Copilot creation. You'll see down here, there is the option for you to describe your own one. And when we come down here, I'm just going to click on my all contacts and submit that. And then here you can see it's got a journey start, it's got a follow-up email, and then depending on what's happened in the email link, it will take them in different directions. And we can click on that and create that. And you'll see it's got a description. So in the future, if you want to try and copy that description, put it down here and add any details to it, you can do that to enhance your journey. I will just click on this here. This is what a fully designed journey looks like. Sorry, it's a little bit blurry. But what you get is your starting point, and you'll see we've got 4,100 people starting in here. And as it goes, they're split off in different directions, and you can actually see how many people are making it to each point in the journey and where they're at, and you get the metrics on the side. So what I'll do is I'll jump into some of my own very basic creations and show you some of those details. So what we've got is a completed journey here. And you'll see I've started the journey with all contacts. So that's a segment. We can come in here and click on the email, and we can actually see for that email, once those 144 people have come through, what's happened. So it's already processed, it's complete. It's flowed through. We haven't had anyone exit through any of the paths that I'll show later. The delivery rate's incredibly low for those that got delivered. The open rate's pretty good. And you'll see here we've got lots of delivery issues because these are all sample contacts. If I go and click on this magnifying icon here, you can see what's happened is we've seen 144, 2 got delivered, 1 got blocked, and these failed delivery. Of those that did get delivered, it got opened. Somebody did a unique click in there. And we can also see that that click was to unsubscribe. So if we want to look at that, you'll see there's a big picture version of everything that's gone on with this journey. This journey's been sent more than once. So we can see the first time I tried to send it, didn't go to anybody. The second time I sent it, it did enough for me to show in the demo. But this profile here of this contact, while we can see at an individual level what's going on, we can also go into the contact level and understand what's going on with them. So you'll see as we come in here in the timeline, you can see all the marketing going on. And in this case, this is the email that we've sent in that journey. It will actually show, if we've got it turned on, the particular email that was sent to this contact. So if they've got any personalization or any content filtering, you will see a version of that email, not just the generic one that's been designed. And you can see some other marketing stuff has gone on here, confirmation through the bot that the email's been delivered. But what you get if you're working with the Power Platform or Dynamics, you'll see we actually now get this insights area. And you can see in here the open of emails and also that there's been a form submitted. The other thing we get is the communication. So with this, we can see that we've got a particular channel set up, channel being the email, SMS, push application or custom channels. And this one will be tracked, but because we clicked unsubscribe in that last email, commercial emails, so ones that are general marketing, will not be sent. Transactional emails, which are anything like bills or stuff that can go outside of those commercial channels, will still continue to be sent. So that's how you see what's going on with the insights of an individual. And that's a journey. So if we come into a journey that hasn't been completed here, I'll go and click on this draft. So you can see there's quite a lot of stuff going on. So we had a segment before. This is a trigger. I'll drill into those in a moment. What we actually want to do is a marketing event registration's been created. So we've sent an email. They've clicked on the link for that marketing event. We may want to send them an email back at this stage that's actually their ticket, or perhaps a text message or a push notification if they've got the app. Then if they check in for the event, what we do is if it's yes, we might send them a push notification. Why would we do that? In this case, I've said when they come in, they get a free coffee and there's a QR code attached to it. Or if they don't come, we might want to send them some follow-up information about how we've missed them and we're sorry, and here's some information that they want. And it may send them something else as well. Or we may want to hand it off to a member of our team to follow up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this and I'm going to click here. So they've missed the event. We've sent them the information. We might want to create a lead or an opportunity or something custom, or for our team to do a phone call or a follow-up task. Maybe they were a particular client that we wanted to see and we've got some criteria to track that. So we're going to create that follow-up activity. But in any of these spots, we can create the messages. We can have AI-powered actions, so A/B testing. Maybe we have two different types of message that we're sending via email. We want to set a threshold of 10%. So for the first 10% of contacts, it will send the first one type, the second one the other type. Once it gets that 10%, it's going to look at who opened it, who clicked on it, and send the other 90% to the preferred case. It doesn't have to be 90%. It could be 50, whatever your criteria is. If you understand A/B testing, that's how that works. We can also do channel optimization. So if somebody is communicating with us and they only respond to SMS text messages, we can actually say when we're sending out our journey, if we've set up an SMS or an email or a push notification or some other channel, send it through the one that they're most likely to engage in us with based on your understanding of communications. We also have conditions. Wait times and triggers should be reasonably basic. The wait time you can set, for example, say we've got somebody who's subscribing to a magazine from us. After they've done their subscription, it might be for a year. We want to follow them up after 11 months to make sure they subscribe. Or we wait for a trigger. They've clicked on a link in an email, they've visited somewhere on our website, whatever that trigger is. And we'll look at triggers in a moment. So there's quite a lot of capability there for building your journeys. As you'll see, you can also create copies. So if you've got what you need, but you need to make adjustments to it, absolutely fine. You can do another one. There's some capabilities as we're going through the setup. So we can set up entry. How do they come in? Add conditions, exclude segments. So we work with organizations that work with city councils. You might want to make sure you exclude the senior council members from any of your marketing engagements, but you might want them all set up as council members in your system. You can set up repeating, like I said before, about somebody subscribing for that magazine, start and end dates of the communication. We can also set up exit criteria. If somebody resubscribes, we don't want to be following them up with additional emails. So we can set that exit criteria to make sure they're not getting spammed. We can set up goals. Those goals will allow us to see the success. We can set up any of the ones that are provided by Microsoft or our own custom goals, and we can measure them by percentages or by numbers. We also can say with frequency cap, we can set up a frequency cap in the back end of the system that says we only want to send 3 emails a month to a contact, no more. We might want to say this particular email ignores that frequency cap. We are still going to send this to them. And this is where we also just get some visibility, in this case, of that email that's being sent. So that's how journeys work. We've got some analytics, like I was showing you before. That's the journeys. We also can have a look at channel analytics. So this is how are our different channels going? What's better? Is it working through email, SMS, other things? And we also get some visibility around assets. We'll talk about them later, but they are things like pictures, documents, links that we're sending. We can also build our own marketing effectiveness analytics. So this is where you can go and build in your own criteria to measure against. So the ones that come out of the box are the first two, journey analytics and channel analytics. You'll see my personal ones are quite basic at the moment. I haven't really sent any emails or journeys to specific people. But we can also add that third one that gives you your really custom things you want to look at. Right. Now let's have a look at how do we engage somebody? How do we send them on a journey? The real-time functionality that was added was triggers. And there's hopefully a reasonably clear way to outline what a trigger is. When you go to create them, if you've worked with the Power Platform or Dynamics before, when you're updating, creating any of the records in the system, you can use the details of that to be able to create your trigger. And those are the ones that we have as examples at the moment. If you have external systems like your website and an external app or external data sources, you can also use information that comes from that once you've set up the code to be a trigger for adding somebody to a journey. So you'll see using those internal ones we're talking about there, and we have things like updating a contact address, if they've submitted a survey response, if their email was delivered, if a lead was created, if a marketing form was submitted. So just a range of functionality that comes out of the system. And you'll see here we've got this journey usage. So this marketing event registration was created. It's been used once in a live journey. When we've updated the contact address, that's now been used twice. So that's how you trigger it live. When that thing happens, it will send that individual on that journey at that time. It doesn't wait for anything else. That's the trigger that says go. The way to put together a list, put together a plan, and set it up is to use segments. So I've got a segment I've already created here. You'll see it's actually got members. So this is all contacts. This is when we've set up our contacts, and I only want to market to active contacts. We don't want to be sending messages to people that we've removed. So this is a basic one we try and set up all the time for our clients. And this hasn't changed over time with mine, but you'll see we can get that full list, and that can be exported, or we can use this to create a journey right now from this list. And we can create a copy of it as well if we want to use it externally. So in this case, I actually want specific members. So as a starting point, what I've done, this is where we go to create a journey. I want to start with all contacts that are active, but rather than doing that again, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go and add an existing segment, and that all contacts was that one that had 144 members. So that's going to make sure that when we're sending this marketing, it only goes to the contacts who are currently active. Then you'll see we can add an attribute group. So we actually want all contacts that are in a particular country. So let's add that to this group. And in this case, I'm just going to put contains data. But you get that choice to be able to choose that. Or I want a behavioral group. So you'll see in here, I want people who have been and checked in to one of our marketing events in the last 28 days. So what you'll see here is this is the power of being able to create this. We've got that existing segment group, and also their country contains information, and they've been to a marketing event in the last 28 days. But maybe we actually don't want to engage the people that have already engaged us in the last month. So you'll see we have the option in here to say, but not, when we're creating that segment group. And that's where we can then filter out people who we don't want to do that marketing to. And we can also have or. So you get quite a lot of flexibility around being able to use your existing segments, what's happening in your client environments, records, and also the activities that they're doing with you to create those segments. And then those segments or triggers can be used as the starting point for those journeys. We'll come back to Consent Center, but I will show it exists. This is where you get the visibility of everybody who's opted in and opted out of communications with you and what channel they've done it through. So you will have your email, you'll also have your SMS, you could also have your custom channels. With scoring models, I've set up a behavioral and demographic score. So I'm just going to click on this here. In the behavioral model, this is where we can set up points. So you'll see 5 points for an email that was opened in the last 28 days. If a marketing form was submitted in the last 28 days, another 5 points. If they've registered for an event, another 5 points. If their email bounced in the last 28 days, we'll actually take points off. Or the other style we can do is if this contact has a particular, we've got their job title, we know that they're in this particular industry and they've got a purchase time of this quarter and their number of employees is over a certain threshold, we can set up those as scores. And then what we have is our qualification capability. So we can add up those numbers and get those scores and show them up. But once we've done that, what we can then do is add that scoring model once they get over a certain amount of points to be able to mark the lead as being marketing qualified and sales ready, so that on the leads, the sales team can actually see the details of what marketing's done with them and that they've been taken to that point. Right. Email creation. This is where a lot of the heavy lifting happens. What I'm going to do is go into an existing one that I've created, show you some details, and then create a new one. So you'll see in here, we have the email. This has been configured. There's a whole lot of things that have to be in the email. So we have to include the unsubscribe. We have to include our main address. This is for compliance. We can then go in and set up things like headers, footers, buttons that we can click uh, to take people to surveys or to register for events. But what we get is once we've sent that email, you'll see we get insights of what's happened with that email. And we can get an audit history of who's changed any of the details. We can also see that this has been used in 3 different journeys. So this is being used in different places. So our analytics can be for all of those journeys or just a single type of journey. And we get those same metrics that we got for the journey on a particular email. So that is how it looks when we have created one. What I'm going to do is just go into edit mode on this and create a copy. And you'll see what we've got in here is tools for adding pictures. So if we click on that picture, this is where we can go and select our assets from our library. They do have to be uploaded to the library. I might want to change my branding to this type. And you'll see when we do that, we can even link that to external URLs, calendar events, event creation. So those pictures can be activated with a range of different things. We've also got some design controls, sizing and alignment, and all sorts of capabilities. When we come into a segment here, you'll see we've got background colors that can be set, background images. But when we come down to the text, we get control over the formatting and design. We can also do things like add personalization. So as the email is being sent, it might add the individual's first name of the account or contact. Not going to do that in this scenario, but you get that capability in here. If we've got buttons, as mentioned, we can add those URLs. We can take it to a part of the email with an anchor. It can add a calendar invite, an event registration, Teams meeting, survey, files, or videos. So there's quite a lot of functionality there. With this tool, what we have is the ability to go and add other details. So you'll see we've got text, images, buttons, QR codes, dividers. We can also add custom code. If you're working with an external organization that's building your email designs in HTML, that's no problem. We can actually take that HTML, put it into the system, and then go and add fields or controls so it can track that details in here. You can also take that code and hand off externally too. So that's your designer area. In here is content blocks. So if you don't want to be building things over and over again, you can either use templates or you can use content blocks. So in here, I've set up my social media tools. Well, they're already in there. You'll see I can put it in there. Not particularly well designed, but we can use that and they can all have the links in the background and everything like that configured so that you just don't have to do that repeatedly. Copilot is here to create content ideas. So it will go and look at your previous emails and any additional information you've got in your system. You can come in here and set the tone of voice and generate ideas. These can then, it'll generate sort of 3 different content ideas. Those can then be taken and dropped into your marketing messages from this part of the system if you'd like to. There's also additional personalization you can do. One of the most powerful is using lists. So you can add lists, and lists of information can be things like if that contact has invoices that have been sent to them or quotes, something along those lines. Cases, you can go and grab those details and it will put a personalized list of details into the email for them. You can also set up their particular compliance. We have branding themes we can add. You can also have a brand profile that manages that as well. And then we have our compliance settings. This is where you have to set up your company address. It will auto create you a plain text version to improve your spam score. And in here, you set your compliance. Commercial is things that can be sent as marketing and people can unsubscribe from. Transactional are things like invoices, stuff that has to make it through. So that's the designer here. We also have similar designers from forms. So you'll see I've gone in and made a form here where I've used the design, the background, the layout, the font. You have the ability to go in and put in fields from inside your Dynamics environment. You can also add unmapped fields. So if you want to do things like when they're filling in a form, say, particular needs for food allergies or anything like that, you can add those and make sure you don't have to set them up as fields inside your Power Platform. You'll see here in the design elements, we've got those general display things as well as capture that we had before. We can also turn our fields into option sets, multi-select radio buttons. We also have our consent environment there. Once again, theme designers and form settings are in here. And when you publish this, you also have the capacity, and you'll see, pre-fills available there. When you go and publish your form, you have a couple of options. So you can take it as a JavaScript code and embed it in your website or wherever else you want to drop that JavaScript. You can open in a new tab as a standalone form, and you'll see it will create it as such. Or if you have an existing form and you want to map the fields on that form back into this so it can be used in journeys, that's available as well. So there's a number of options with form creation. So when we're looking at other channels, the ones that are built in, I've mentioned multiple times, are push notifications. So if you have an organizational app, we can link into that with the platform. And push notifications have the ability to be able to, as you'll see here, give you personalization, your message you can create, and also you can put in an image. And you'll see here, I've added the ability to use a QR code, which can take somebody to a website, or when you've got on-click behavior of the image, it can open an app in the browser, or it can open a customer voice survey. You'll see the designer has just the difference because there's some layout functionality changes on different devices. And we also have a ability to create SMS, text messages. So you'll see in here, you select the sender, you can add your message, and you've got your purpose again. Not a lot of capability in here, but you can build them inside the system. You do have to add your gateway provider, so it's not included in the platform. Similar to this, if you want to create more channels, you will see that you have that ability. There's some code that'll be required in the back end, and then you can configure your messages to those channels. We have the capacity to hold a number of things in the system. So when it comes to our assets, the first thing we've got is our images, documents, videos, and fonts. Basically, this is where you keep the information that you're going to load into your design tools, and you centralize them. So if you go and change any of these in the future, you know how to centrally hold them in a single place. The templates are your template designers for emails, forms, journeys, and tasks. Hopefully that makes sense. Content blocks, this is where you can build those content blocks that can be reused later on in your designing tools, and then you just have a place for managing your activities. Well, that's the main part of real-time journeys. We will just mention, first of all, when you're going into the training, be aware that the how-to videos are still, for some reason, showing the marketing app. So they are old how-to videos and do not actually match to the current use of the system. Hopefully that will be updated soon. And in here you have your settings. So there are a number of things that I've mentioned along the way. A big one is managing your compliance profiles. This is where you come and set up your rules around your things like unsubscribe options, how you manage your consent. If you're doing your consent and you want to break that down into topics, that can be managed inside this part of the system. So you may say full commercial messages, you may want to unsubscribe for our newsletter, but want our general marketing, or vice versa. So that's where topics allow you to unsubscribe for a specific part of the engagement. And as you'll see, you can jump through the various areas of the platform and configure the basic things that are required. I did mention frequency cap previously. So this is where you can say, how do you set the frequency of how often somebody will be communicated with? And obviously the smaller number, if you've got a smaller number on monthly than you have in weekly, it's going to defer to the smaller number on monthly. So if you said we're only going to send 7 messages a week monthly, but you said 10 weekly, the monthly will supersede that. The other thing you can set is quiet time, so you can send your messages out, but during these hours, it won't be sent. So there's a lot of capabilities in here that you can configure details. We can also go in and feature switch things on and off. So you'll see here I haven't configured, but you can import large segments via CSV. The UTM tracking is like Google Analytics. As we go through and work with configuring the system, this is where you set those basics. Obviously, they can be changed later, but these are the core components that allow you to work with the features of the system or remove them if that's not relevant. A really important one here is the integrations. 2 of the Microsoft tools, customer voice, which is the survey tool, and contact center integration allows you allows you to integrate both chatbots and IVR solutions in the Dynamics Contact Center. So I'm going to leave that as the Customer Insights journey video for now. This will be followed up in the future with one focused specifically on event management and another one focused on the customer journeys data. So do keep an eye out for those. This is a really powerful tool. It's being adopted very well by clients at the moment. And I absolutely would recommend, especially if you're working with Dynamics and the Power Platform, looking at it. It can be bought separately. And if you are doing that, then you want to consider looking at the Customer Insights data components to really make that a powerful tool. Thanks for your time.